G'day, it's Nicola here with a case study for you, and it's called My Cousin is a Chief in Samoa. And it's an amazing family story by Danish TV journalist Johannes Langkilde. Now the show is brought to you today by the Your Family Stories system, which helps you record a loved one's life story, and you can get free sections to this at the end of the show, so stay with me. Now, the full title of this book is called My Cousin is a Chief in Samoa, The Unlikely Adventures of a Dane in Polynesia. And again, it's by Johannes Langkilde, and it's a family story that's come out of a chance meeting. Now, Johannes grew up in cold, windswept Denmark, and as a child, he heard stories from relatives about, tropical Samoa and having relatives live over there, and that one of them was actually a chief. And it wasn't until 2016, when Johannes was in the United States for work, that he actually, by chance, bumped into this cousin who was from American Samoa. And there was a spark there between the two cousins. And so in this show, I'm going to go over a little bit about Johannes and how he came to write this book, and then some tips he has for us as life story creators. So let's jump in. So Johannes he's from Denmark, of course. He's mid-40s. He's got a wife and 2 kids. He loves to play jazz music, but he's also a TV journalist. He's actually a news anchor on the national Danish TV. So a bit of a star, but this is his latest book, and he says it is a huge milestone, a huge personal milestone. And it was from this chance meeting that he decided, yes, I have to write a book. He said it was like the universe giving him a kick up the butt, that he had to go meet the whole clan over in Samoa. And he had great support from his family to do this, and that's where the book idea started. Now, the writing of the book, and it really did take several years, because this included the research and the trip away. So, for example, he had to map out where his ancestor, which was Hans Alfred Langkilde, where he actually went and what happened. Why did he leave Denmark? And he did leave with drama in the 18th century, and he ended up marrying the chief's daughter in Samoa. So quite an amazing story. So you had to do a bit of history dive there to find that all out with a bit of help. The challenge of writing this book was, of course, he signed a contract to write the book with the Danish version with a publisher, and he says once he did that, really felt like, oh my goodness, there's no going back from here. And that he had to also open up about his personal life, which is something that he wasn't used to doing, and it was really quite frightening. So yeah, few challenges there, but many rewards come out of this writing process. Of course, there was responses from readers from all around the world, from Germany, Switzerland, USA, Sweden, and of course his Samoan family. But of course, the most important challenge, or most important reward, he says, was that meeting them and understanding their culture really changed his perspective on life. He says it changed his perspective on life, love, religion, and family. So that's an amazing, really enriching reward to come from writing a book. So finally, tips we can learn from Johannes. There's 2 main ones I want to share with you that he passed on to me. Was one, he says, instead of saying I should write a book about this, say I will write a book about that. Get that frame of mind set. It's not an imaginary dream, it's something that you will do. And he says tip 2 is don't let overwhelm stop you. Quote, he says, so many people have amazing stories to tell, but somehow feel the task is too overwhelming to actually do it. So the trick here is to think of the big project as small projects that make a whole. So in his case, he said he had things like planning, the research, networking, there's planning the trip, planning the chapters, then writing, then editing, choosing pictures, clearing copyright issues, choosing a cover. These are all individual tasks that when you put them together, make up the book project. So don't think of it as a whole, don't let it overwhelm you. Think of it as small individual projects. So to recap the show, I've told you a little bit about Johannes, his book writing process, and then some tips for us as creators. And I hope that this show will show you, just as Johannes found out, that family stories and family can really change your life. Now, this show is just a snippet of a larger article I have about this over at my website. Go over and check it out. It's at foreveryoungautobiographies.com/My Cousin is a Chief in Samoa. And I have the link for that one down below in the description. But please go over, you'll see a picture of Johannes, the book, of his cousin. There's links to buy the book and connect with Johannes as well. But while you're there and while you're here, I'd love for you to answer this question and share with me, did your ancestors leave their homeland behind? And over here in Australia, a lot of us had ancestors from all over the world, and I'd love to know where yours come from. So drop me a line in the comments. And before I go, I mentioned the Your Family Stories system. Now, this is a system that I use when as a journalist, interviewing many people over the decades, but also for my grandmother when I helped record her life story when she turned 100. And I go through the 4 stages of doing this. If you'd like to do it with your own loved one, you get the free section to that by going to foreveryoungautobiographies.com/free. And that will go into some details and see if it's for you. Now, I will be back again soon with another topic, and it would be fantastic if you could follow, subscribe, like the show, share it with a friend, or leave it a review. And until then, happy writing.